lap as always. What were your thoughts on Jalen Hurts coming out of college?
I thought he would be a career backup. I didn't mind Eagles picking a quarterback. You could kind of see the Wentz thing coming. You know, he had that one really miraculous year where he was nailing third downs all the time in 2017, but that was not sustainable, and they could see the drop off. And so I was like, okay, a quarterback, but man, Jalen Hurts. I don't know about that, but man, I got to give them credit. They put him in that triple option setup that they have, and then getting him two good wide receivers. They got Goddard, they got Sanders, they got this amazing offensive line. So
Mm-hmm.
like when a team like the Titans comes on and goes, "You're not doing triple option. We don't care." He goes, "That's fine. You're gonna play one on one with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and we'll hit you up like that." And those are the passes I didn't think he could hit consistently, but he's done it pretty well all year. So, yeah, I didn't expect him. I thought he'd be a career backup, but he's been a damn good player. He's about to make himself a $50 million damn contract coming up.
50 million a year, yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan. I'm a Cowboys fan though too, so I absolutely hate the Eagles, and it kills me. Absolutely kills me that he's performing well on the Eagles. My dream was that he was absolutely terrible for the Eagles. They cut him like Wentz style, and he went somewhere else like the Cowboys. I mean, just to be greedy, and was fantastic, Hall of Famer, best there's ever been, right?
Yeah, he reminds me of Dak in his ethic and his thought process
Right.
and
Mhm.
how
Yep.
he
Yep.
takes on stuff. And I think back to 2016 after we had that great year, and I'm like, man, what if they went out and sent a first for a AJ Green type receiver and signed a Hassan
Right.
Reddick, and really made those moves that were like Gardner Johnson, Sue, Linville, like anything they thought they needed. They're like, we're gonna put it in while this
Right
guy
now,
is on a cheap
go get
contract.
it.
Yeah, and they just never did, and now it is more difficult. I love the quarterback, but when you pay a quarterback 40 million, it is more difficult. I wish they'd try a little bit, but they should have tried about 4 years ago.
Boy, the internet is taking Stephen Jones behind the woodshed daily, wishing that he would do more and more and more. Rev, I see you on Twitter all the time, weighing in one way or the other on Stephen Jones's. Maybe not him by name, but it's him you're weighing in on.
Yeah, I guess the nickname they like to give him is the Cat Boy now. You seen that?
The Cap
You
Boy.
know,
Yes, I
Cat
have
Boy,
seen
Cat Boy. What you gonna do when Cat Boy comes for you?
that.
Yeah, it's like man, let that money go. There was a point there where Jerry Jones, you could almost say, Jerry Jones about to spend whatever type of money. And here's the thing, that I believe personally the cap is great for the NFL.
Mhm.
But we all know if it was baseball, we're like the Yankees, and Jerry Jones
Oh
would
yeah.
would put together, and we would win the Super Bowl every year. Like there would be no doubt. But the cap has made the game better, and so Jerry Jones at one time I would say was just not scared to go out there and sign anybody, and especially when you got a team as close as ours to maybe get over the hump, to get to a championship game, to get to a Super Bowl. Back in the day, he'd pull that trigger. You know what I'm saying? We remember back in the '90s,
Oh
he
yeah.
brought Dion on, Charles Haley. Like we weren't afraid to go out there and
Whatever it
spend a little
takes.
money, and rightfully so. But now you're kind of seeing Jerry kind of being a little bit more cautious. Maybe he has the ear of Stephen Jones, his son, a little bit more. And I don't know, man. If you're going to blame somebody for how the
Why not,
Cowboys have
Steven?
just
Cap Boy.
handled, because this ain't even. Here's the thing, Coach. This ain't even the first time this has happened. Back in, I want to say 18. You guys will remember this. The whole wide receiver by committee garbage that kind of went
Mhm.
in, and it was just like, what are we doing? And then that's why we went and got Amari Cooper, and it's like we're doing the same thing again this year. Except, man, we had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and even CD Lamb. I don't know if you've been watching him here lately. He kind of talked a little bit about the differences between the Eagles, the Niners, and the Cowboys. And he was like, man, these other guys have talent all around them. Like, what do you want to do this offseason? It's like, add talent, put some weapons around
Everywhere.
Dak, these different things. So, yeah, everywhere. It's like, spend the money. Come on, Stephen Jones. Throw us a little bone. So, yeah.
Let's go
Yeah,
get this
lots
thing.
of fun.
So, Mike, I know you're a Cowboys
Yep.
fan. I know you like the draft. Tell us a little more about yourself. Tell the people watching here.
Well, I have a podcast. I'm the co-host. The host does all the work. I just come on and talk. It's called Across the Cowboys. And Paul is the guy that sets me up. I tell him he does everything, and then I just come on and yap for 90% of the podcast. And I write for Cowboys Wire, and that has a lot to do with KD Drummond making me look really good. He's a hell of an editor. He takes stuff that I put in, and I think I've done a good job, and he reword stuff, and I'm like, this guy is where he is for a reason. So, I get a lot of credit off a lot of other people's hard work, and I appreciate it from them very much.
That's
How
awesome.
long you been working with KD, Mike?
This is my second or third draft. Golly, I can't remember. I think this upcoming is my third draft. Yeah, because I signed on as somebody to do the draft 2 drafts ago. And then I told him, I go, if you need any help during the season, I could do news work too. I don't mind. I ain't got nothing to do. At the time I wasn't working. I'm on disability. And I started up on that, and he hired me on that. And then the draft came back around. And he's like, all right, let's do draft stuff. And so now I just do both. So I don't ever get a break. I go from in-season work to draft work. And, it makes watching the Cowboys like a job, which is a little different. It takes a little bit of the fandom out of it, but it's worth it. And he pays me, so.
You can't beat that then, man.
That's
Getting paid to
awesome,
watch
man.
the Cowboys sounds like a dream to me.
I used to do it for free. I would put the same type of articles about people free on like Facebook and Twitter and all that. I did it for, I don't know how long social media is around, but like 10 years. I was just putting, I would extend the tweet out. And that's why people told me, they sent me to KD. KD put a thing out saying, hey, we're looking for writers. And I had 4 or 5 people tag me going, hey man, this is for you. And I was like, well, I don't really write well enough to do that. And I sent it in, and he was like, no, you're good. You're hired. I was like, perfect.
Sounds amazing. I did pop
Nice.
a couple of links into the chat, the ATB Cowboys podcast and CD and your Twitter there, so people can grab it if they want to and check out what you're all about. Before we get into the Super Bowl talk, everybody that comes on here that's a Cowboys fan, the Niners game, everybody has their reasons why we lost it. Dak Prescott caught a lot of heat from it. What are your thoughts? What went wrong, I guess, is the right way to put it. Why are we not in this game tomorrow?
You want that, Rev, first, or you want me to go first?
Oh, I want you, Mike. You're the pro right here, brother. Me and Coach has already
we beat
whined
this to
enough
death
on this podcast about it. So, oh yeah. The people have already heard our opinion. We want to hear yours, brother.
All right. So first of all, I want to put this out there so people understand, because there is a portion of the fan base that will defend Dak Prescott to the end, and then there's a portion, no matter how good he is, will say he's the worst quarterback in the league. I lean on the pro Dak. I think he's a damn good quarterback. I think you win a lot of games because of him. This game was a loss because of Dak Prescott. And man, that hurts, because that's like, I like Dak so much that me and my brother talk about how I kind of want to win. I want Dak to win more than I even want my Cowboys to win. Like I really want him to get a win. He's just such a good person. I send money to his charity. I bought sweatshirts from there where the proceeds go there. Like, I am very pro Dak. But you watch the film, and man, if you just watch T.Y. Hilton, every time he's on the field, he's open 80% of the time, and just Dak doesn't look at him. He misses him. The key play that everybody sees, we saw Dan Orlovsky make something up about protection. I don't know what he was. That was bullshit if you've seen that. The protection thing was bullshit. I mean, he just made up about, if you see a guy standing there, no, you're a liar. You're making shit up. When you get on TV like that, you have to overdo it.
Right. Orlovsky is like that guy. He's like a what do they call that? Sensational journalism. He is that guy to sports talk.
And I'm going to tell you, Dan Orlovsky, when he's just breaking down film, not on TV or for some shit, he's one of the best
He's
there
good.
ever has
He's
been.
good. Yeah.
Shannon Sharp
Yeah,
is
he's
another
good.
one. That is a great film break. And then they get on the shows where they have to be, and they know, they'll tell you on radio.
They got to take turns. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to him on person.
They got to take turns
on Twitter, and he's like, "Hey, man, that's what we have to do." You know, because I'm like, "What are you doing?
Right.
You know better." But he goes on and he says some bullshit about coverage. Don't pay attention to that. The minute that the linebacker Fred Warner turns his hip towards CeeDee Lamb, the play instantly, the quarterback needs to see it and go, "This is T.Y.'s." And he missed it. He also, during cover 3, they played a lot of cover 3. T.Y. was open on the curls. I know we hate the curls because it makes your quarterback be perfect. The quarterback looked the wrong way. T.Y. Hilton was the read. If T.Y. Hilton's one of the first 2 reads, they kill him in the cover 3 because T.Y.'s open all day in it. Dak doesn't see him. Pass rush gets there. He doesn't get to him. So, I hate this, but yeah, Dak had a bad game. It wasn't a Kellen Moore thing. I was fine with Kellen Moore going. He's fine. He's a good coordinator. If you're top in the league, there's a reason. He does good, and he'll be great in the Chargers. But they needed a new voice. Like it had gotten to a point where it's stagnant. So I thought Dak had a bad game. I think you could put 85% of the blame on him. He had a bad game. He was watching the line too much. He was missing reads. He had a bad game. So I love him. I think you can win a Super Bowl with him. I am pro Dak. He cost you that game. He was bad. He did not have a good game.
Yeah, I agree. And we've kind of talked about this before, Rev and I and other guests on here, about the Dak situation. And there's a lot of Dak defenders and a lot of Dak attackers out there. And the way I've always put it was I was a Romo defender. And then he got so much flack that I just kind of was like, whatever, I don't care anymore. And that just kind of carried right over into Dak, where it was like, people are going to talk both ways. Like, is it going to be Dak's fault sometimes? Yep. Should we kick him off the team? No, we don't have anybody anywhere near as better. I remember the Chad Hutchinsons and Quincy Carters and
Right.
those days where Chad Henson or whatever the heck his name was, man. I remember those days, and I don't want to go back to those days. So.
Was that not the worst?
Hey.
Wasn't that the worst, Coach? Chad Henson? I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? We're just gonna get baseball players come play quarterback, bro.
yeah. Vinny Testaverde that year where he could not move at all. I don't know if you remember those days, man.
Yeah.
That year.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, so I am on board with Dak because we don't have a better answer. And if we had a better quarterback, if Patty Mahomes, J Money in the chat, I see you. If we had a Patty Mahomes, yeah, I'll let Dak go then, okay? But there's, I don't know, 5 to 10 guys, depending on who you ask, better than Dak right now. And that's it in the whole world. So we don't have one of those other guys. So we have Dak. We need to surround him with talent. Like you said, it's hard to do with a $40 million contract and with your running back making $20 million a year. So, and with money coming up for Diggs and CD and Micah quickly after that, it gets tough. It gets real tough. You got to draft perfectly, or I don't think he's a Patty Mahomes where you can put anyone around him and he's going to succeed. You're going to have talent. I like, not to switch gears off of him, but I like keeping Pollard. There's a comfort level there, an explosiveness that we don't have on offense, just plain speed that we need to get. But yeah, I am not a Dak defender or a Dak apologizer. It is what it is. What do you think, Rev?
Yeah, I kind of find myself, especially even on Twitter or TikTok, or I find myself just defending Dak. I think just over the past, I don't know how many years, even since he came into the league in 2016, I've just found myself defending him. It's like you said, Coach, it has bled from Romo right into Dak, because we all know that Romo was good enough to win a Super Bowl and probably had 2 different teams that were very good. And especially the year that Dak took over, a lot of people say that was the year, if Romo could have stayed healthy. And so, the crazy part, if you were actually to look deeper into it, if Romo does stay healthy, Dak probably is not going to be on the Cowboys anymore. He might go to a different team because just where he was in the rankings even Kellen Moore breaking his foot or something like that year,
Yep.
and then by default coming in to play. I guess what was that was it the Seahawks game? I think in preseason he came in, and from that
Yep.
point it was history. So
It
the
was
greatest
perfect.
feeling was wow. I kind of feel like the Packers right now, where Brett Favre leaves and now Aaron Rodgers is going to take over, and it kind of felt that it's like you're fortunate to pass the franchise quarterback to another franchise, and so it stinks to maybe not see Romo finish, but now we're at a point now where we're kind of going, is Dak ever going to get one? And we all know he's good enough, but I think we're all at a point now where we understand who Dak is. He needs help. And Coach, you've heard me say this, and Mike hasn't, but my belief is that if you give Dak Prescott a running game, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. His ability to do play action, to go on the move, and just that running game, he's able to complement that really well. The crazy thing for me as a Dak apologist, and I'm probably more of a Dak apologist than both of y'all, because I've followed you both on Twitter. Mike has some fantastic posts and arguments and things with people on Twitter, because Twitter is just so toxic, and people just seem to just lose their minds.
Yes.
And instead of just being a realist about football. My thing with Dak is, yeah, he had a bad game. There's no doubt we lose that game. Also, we got to be an understanding that you lost Pollard, and Kellen Moore completely abandoned the run, didn't even use Zeke at all to run the ball. And it seems like Dak is only able to see CeeDee Lamb, and he's just throwing it to him every time. And so, as a coach, you gotta help your players see the field. There's not just an offensive coordinator seeing the field and calling the game. We've all coached, I believe, or I'm not sure if you've coached before, Mike, but we've all been involved with football and the X's and O's, to where maybe I'm not the one calling plays, but I see things out in the field where I'm going, bro, this guy's open. Like, go back to this play, and I don't know if T.Y. Hilton's open, why ain't anybody calling it out? You know what I'm saying? We're at halftime. It's a close game. Dak just threw a dumb interception, and we could have been up by 3. And so it just frustrates you to see that. But then after the game, it's even more frustrating, because then Dak is just the worst quarterback on earth, when you got somebody like Josh Allen, who had even a worse game at home against the Bengals, and then nothing against the Bengals at all. I love Bengals. I love Joe Shiesty, but he didn't have the greatest game against the Chiefs either, throwing a couple picks and really bad picks, and so it just seems like, being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, he seems to get all the blame for everything, win or lose. He doesn't get any credit if you win, and he gets all the blame if you lose.
Played
And
the greatest
so,
game of
yeah,
his
it's
life
frustrating.
literally
I'm
a
kind of
week
with you.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we talked about this, Mike. It's like, it don't count. Tom Brady's 176 years old. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to win that game. And it's like, well, the Cowboys haven't beat him in 7 games. He's undefeated. So this is a mental game. And he was able to ball out and overcome it. It just stinks to see him fall on the next game. So, yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. At the end of the day, I can't really begin to defend Dak any longer, because he's coming into the league now. He's a veteran. He might be, and you guys maybe agree or not, but is Dak Prescott the best quarterback in the NFC? Like, without Aaron Rodgers there, is he, a top 3 guy? Would you take Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott? And those are just some thoughts. Say that again, Mike.
Depends on his offense. If you flipped him,
Yeah.
and you put Jalen Hurts in Dallas, he would struggle, because the O-line's not as good. He only really has CeeDee Lamb. I think him and Pollard would be dynamic, but there's only so much you could do in that. And if you put Dak, would be good in Philly because of how good there is around him, but they'd have to do a different offense. You can't run the triple option. He's not going to work in that. So both of them would be system based. They would, the Philadelphia would be going, give us back Hurts, and Cowboys would be like, oh no, hell no, give us back Dak. Which is weird. It sounds weird, but it's just how they fit in the system.
Yeah.
So guys, to shift this,
it's hard to say.
Go ahead, Rev.
Go ahead, Coach. No, go ahead, brother.
No, I was just going to shift it a little to the Super Bowl. We always beat the Cowboys to death, and I think the three of us could probably sit here and talk Cowboys until midnight. And we've done it before. I think last week we talked for an hour, and then our guest was like, "I gotta go."
I know the next step in the Dallas talk, and I don't want to talk about it because it's the people that he wins Man of the Year. Like, I don't care what There's stuff above football, guys. We're all Cowboys fans. We want to see Dallas win more than anything. But the dude won Man of the Year, and half of Twitter is like, who cares? Win a divisional playoff game. Like, F off, dude. There are bigger things than our team winning a Super Bowl. I want it. I lived through 3 of them. I want it. But guys, like, that's when the hate goes like, talk bad about him for that game. Hey, he wasn't good enough against San Francisco. You got it. I'm there with you. I'll stand up and go, hey, I still want him, but he didn't do good. But when you come on and are like, you're paid $40 million to win, screw your Man of the Year award, piss off with that. That's an insta mute for you on my Twitter.
Yep. Yeah, I knew that he had a charity, and I'm gonna ask you guys if you read about why he won, and I know that the bad things that have happened to him, right? And I'll just lay them out for anybody watching that hasn't. His mom died of cancer. So he started a foundation for cancer. I forget the specific type of cancer, but if you guys know, go ahead and chime in.
I don't know what she died of, which one she died of. I don't.
So I don't either, but his original...
I think it was... I thought it was breast cancer, but I'm not 100% sure.
I can Google it real
Maybe
quick.
I could be wrong on that.
But in any case, he started his charity in memory of his mom, right? A horrible thing happened. His mom dies. He makes $40 million a year. What are you going to do? You're going to start a charity, to cure that type of cancer, right? If my mom died and I had made $40 million a year and had a name that could bring stuff in, I'm absolutely going to start a charity to try to make sure nobody goes through what I went through. So what happens? He does that. That's doing well. Then his brother commits suicide. So he expands his charity for suicide prevention. And, I'm reading about all the things that his charity's done and how he's expanded it and the things that they've done. And I'm not going to go through it all because we could go through it. I teared up a little bit for all the things that they've done and that his charities have done because of the pain that he's experienced and not wanting other people to experience those same things. It's just amazing. I literally teared up reading. I don't remember whether it was on ESPN, one of them talking about why he won Man of the Year and his charities. It wasn't just like, hey, I started a charity to give everybody shoes in Cambodia. It was direct pain. I don't want other people to experience this pain in their life. So I'm going to raise money to prevent these things from happening or to cure cancer, those type of things. And it just, it struck a chord with me that he's gone through this and this is why he's doing it. I don't know if you guys read any about that or knew about that before him winning the award, but it was justified.
Yeah, he's great. Great. One of the best human beings. He's just terrific. I hope he gets, I hope we don't fail him like we failed Romo. I hope we can get him a Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is no good segue from that. Go ahead, Rep. Sorry.
Yeah, you're just hoping for that because, they showed a little bit of the video there during the NFL honors, but it was during his time, I guess, when he was at the Senior Bowl and finding out about his mama. And so, man, you're going into the draft. You're going through that draft process, which is the primed most. You're grinding out. You're preparing yourself for the ultimate. And his mom isn't even there to celebrate with him. And so, man, he's been just thrown to the wolves since he come in. A 4th round pick, but you can only imagine, man, what if this dude would have been a 1st round pick, or a top 10 pick, and so he's come into the league and has just handled himself well. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him, and I root for him, man. I root for him just as a person. He's one of the hardest workers that I have seen. Because we've all seen him throw the football in college. It was just like shot put. You know what I'm saying? It was hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And
Little Tim Tebow-esque out there.
Worked. Yeah, I mean he has worked his tail off to become an NFL quarterback, and it's I think that's why where Jalen Hurts is. Jalen Hurts is a worker, like coming out of college. I think that's why we all liked him as well. So just reminds us of Dak Prescott's work ethic, on and off the field. So yeah, pretty awesome guy.
I'm gonna help coach out. I'm gonna help coach out. Ready?
Go for it.
We all hope Dak could win a Super Bowl one day, correct?
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of Super Bowl, see how I transition?
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Way to lead me into it. Well, I do want to talk about some things about the Super Bowl, and I think that I'd like to talk about Andy Reid first, just to, I'm an Andy Reid fan. Just to kind of get us started in this direction. I think, and I'm going to throw this hot take out there and let you guys eat it. I think Andy Reid is the greatest quarterback coach that's ever existed. Ever. I don't think anybody's ever been better. Quarterback coach. I mean, and he's been a head coach for, 25 years now or something like that? And I still think he's the greatest quarterback coach there's ever been. If I had a quarterback and could get anyone I wanted to coach him tomorrow, in history, it's going to be him. You guys disagree?
Bill Walsh is going to be up there.
Yeah.
He's the arguable one.
Bill's
I agree.
Good, man.
Joe Montana, Steve Young. Man. That's two nice ones.
Mike Shanahan was pretty good.
Yeah. Another good one. I think Andy Reid's in that group. He's like the when you go basketball and you do MJ, Kareem, Braun, and everybody picks
I'll tell you one.
He's up there.
I'll tell you, Mike Holmgren was, Andy Reid learned from Mike Holmgren. So,
well, that's what I was going to say is who was Holmgren's quarterback coach?
Who Holmgren from?
So it just travels down the line. It travels down the line.
Yes.
But so you go from the Packers from Favre. Coach. Yeah, from Favre. Then you go to the Eagles and he turns McNabb into a borderline Hall of Famer. And then he goes to Kansas City and takes Patty Mahomes into he's on the road to greatest of all time. It's a long road, but he's on it,
Long road. Yeah.
Don't leave out
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith is a great point.
That's what I was going to say.
Nothing to almost a Super Bowl winner. So he's
from bust. He was a bust. He was 100% bust up there with Ryan Leaf until Andy Reid got his hands on him.
Yep. Agreed.
So that leads me into my next
Patrick
question.
Mahomes was. Go ahead, Coach.
Is Andy Reid the best offensive mind in football right now?
Andy Reid.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against there. I would say yeah. Existing.
The reason that I would lean towards Kansas City, if you made it like Philly's roster is amazing, their quarterbacks play.
Well, don't give us your pick yet, Mike. Don't pick it yet. You'll ruin it. Everybody will tune out.
I won't. But Andy Reid off a bye week. He's him and Bill Belichick are masters, and Andy Reid has beat Bill Belichick when they're both off bye week. So, I mean, Andy Reid on a bye week he's tough to handle, and a lot of it is because his offensive mind is genius level.
Yep. Yeah. J Money is like quarterback coach in chat. Yes, quarterback coach. He is not the best head coach of all time, J Money. I'm not willing to give him that, or even put him in the conversation. I don't think. But best quarterback coach of all time. If you want to even talk about best offensive mind of all time, I'll put him in that conversation. I'm not ready to say that, but quarterback coach. If we break it down to that third level, I'm ready to put him up there, J Money.
I don't disagree.
What was your take? We talked about this earlier, Mike. We talked a little bit about draft Jalen Hurts. What was your draft analysis on Patrick Mahomes coming in?
Oh, here was the thing about him. Obviously, he was raw. So it was like, okay, you have the ultimate ball of clay. Like, he's mobile enough, his arm could throw anywhere. Can he go somewhere that could mold him? And the minute he went to Kansas City, it was like, oh, okay, this guy's going to be fantastic. Like, the only way he wouldn't have been is if he just wouldn't work. If he was just lazy, he didn't do the film work or anything. He was too talented, and Andy Reid was too good of a coach for that not to be, like, special. You know, unless, and obviously Patrick Mahomes has been a hell of a worker too. So what a combo to get when they got him.
So why do you think he fell, Mike? Was it the Texas Tech system? Is that why he fell?
No, I just think there was a lot of quarterbacks. Like, my dad's a Bears fan, and they took Mitch Trubisky. Like,
right,
man.
That's who I was thinking of. Yep.
If you think about that year, I think at the time that there were so many quarterbacks, it was right before the big boom where everybody kind of jumped up to take, like, the first 4 of the first 6 picks, jumped up to be quarterback and everything. Deshaun Watson fell in that draft too and was drafted. And then I believe Patrick Mahomes was like the 3rd or 4th guy, right? I remember right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
So I think it was more about like teams going, okay, we got plenty of quarterbacks here. Let's see what. And then right after that, when that happened, is when teams were like, okay, jump up, get Baker Mayfield. The next pick, jump up and get this guy. And then what was it, 2 years ago? Go up to 3rd and get Trey Lance. And go. You know, it kind of started after that. That was a weird year where people were like, all these quarterbacks are good, but we don't know which one is for sure. So we're just going to see how they fall, you know? And I think he just fell. It was more of a natural thing than we worry about this. You know, he was not somebody that you were going to win with right away. Everybody kind of knew, hey, we need to have a veteran quarterback, let him sit behind him, let him see how to do it, let him learn these things and mold him, and then he would jump into it. And Alex Smith played and took them far the first year, if I remember right. And then Mahomes played a couple games at the end, and then it went into the playoffs and everything. And then the next year, I believe, was when Mahomes started, was year 2.
Yeah, they did the clean cut.
Yeah. So I don't think it was like there's a problem with this kid. It was just the way that draft went. A lot of the quarterbacks fell down more than you thought they would. Like, looking back, like, well, now Deshaun Watson, but talent-wise, you know, you're sitting there going, damn, Deshaun Watson and Patrick
Michael
Mahomes
Jordan.
fell? It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. And Browns fans are still mad.
So, Mike, let me ask you this: if Trubisky and Mahomes would have swapped spots in that draft, where would we be at today?
Bears would win a Super Bowl. With where Patrick Mahomes played in Chicago, it's so hard to, like, throw the ball in Chicago. It's so hard to play. That's why their defense has been so dominant forever, because you can play certain styles, and it's like, hey, if you guys want to try to make these throws, you know, Aaron Rodgers might be able to, Patrick Mahomes might be able to. So if they got Patrick Mahomes with the way they would put together their run games and their defenses, oh my God. Unless their quarterback was just a complete moron. I mean, coach was a complete moron.
That sounds like Nagy, yeah.
Yeah.
Nagy was so bad. I'm hoping that it was the one before Nagy. Nagy was, man, there's one where Andy Reid carried the enemies not getting a job a lot because of how bad Nagy was.
That's a
Yeah.
whole nother conversation,
Yeah.
but I've mentioned it several times when we've talked about coaching stuff. That I don't want an OC that doesn't call the plays. If I'm hiring a head coach that's an OC right now, like I don't want one that doesn't call plays. I don't want Bieniemy. If we were to fire our coach tomorrow, I don't want Bieniemy because he doesn't call plays. And Andy Reid is the OC of that team. Let's be real. Sorry about that, Rev.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was gonna say Eric. What's his name? Is it Bellamy or Benamy?
Bieniemy.
Bieniemy. Yeah, he's been sitting there patiently underneath Andy Reid and probably has learned so much. You know, be honest with you, I sure hope the Commanders don't hire him, just because I don't want the Commanders to fix that offense. I want them to continue to struggle. But he's been sitting underneath learning everything, underneath Andy Reid, and so yeah, it's pretty special to sit here and watch what they do. I wanted to kind of, if we remember this, Belichick and Andy Reid has actually played each other before. I want to say back in 2004 in the Super Bowl, and Belichick got the best of them there.
Yep, that was the T.O. broken leg.
Yeah, I mean, and T.O. just superhero come in that game and almost still won with half a leg. And but yeah, they could have won that game very easily. But Andy Reid's right there. He's definitely Hall of Fame.
Word is that Bieniemy is going to take a different offensive coordinator job to kind of step out of Reid's shadow, so he can kind of go, look,
Yep.
I should be hired. It's me. So we'll see how that works out for him.
I think that's the right move for him. Like I think he's got to get out from underneath Andy Reid's shadow. So he's got to go somewhere else. If that's Washington, then so be it. But I do think that's the right move for him, so he can say, like you said, it's me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The Ravens.
What are your
Money in the
thoughts, real
chat says
quick?
The Ravens. What's that, Rev?
What are y'all's thoughts, real quick? Because we're talking about this, the idea that if you got a head coach, Sean Payton's one of them, going to the Broncos. Can he fix Russell Wilson? Now this is the year. Like, we've been waiting as Cowboy fans for Mike to call. Hey, you guys, it's all on your shoulders. If we don't win, brother,
This is
basically it's on you. What are y'all thoughts about Mike McCarthy?
Go ahead, Mike.
Coach. Okay. I'll start it off. My thoughts are, you better get some weapons now. You need to go into that draft room and go, if there's a cornerback and a wide receiver you like, maybe I would rather have the corner, and I'm sitting there, I'm going to beat the drum like, oh, God, don't leave Witherspoon for Zay Flowers. Like, take Witherspoon. But he needs to be sitting there beating the drum for his guys, because if he walks in with CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, Jake Ferguson, like, I don't care what play calls he changes, it ain't going to work. He needs to go out there and get him guys. Another offensive lineman, probably two playmakers, depending on what they do with Tony Pollard or how they replace him. So that's going to be the key thing. I think personnel. I don't mind what they did with Schottenheimer. He's a play action guy, like we said. Dak's good in play action. The offensive line guy they got, another run game coordinator guy. Both those guys should be able to help McCarthy improve the run game. And then it's about getting him weapons. A.J. Brown, Goddard, Quez Watkins, Devontae Smith, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. Like, there's a reason those two teams. And then on the other end, Patrick Mahomes, but the Bengals. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Mixon, Hurst. Like, there's a reason those four teams were where they were. One of them had Mahomes. The other three had
weapons on weapons.
Where you couldn't defend.
Yeah.
But even Mahomes, like, I know they let Tyreek go because of the money that he was going to command, but it's not like they sat on their hands like we did and just kept Noah Brown and Michael Gallup. They went and got Juju Smith-Schuster, Valdez Scantling. Kelsey was still there. They still had Mecole Hardman, so it's not like they sat on their hands like we did, and we're just like, we'll go with these guys that have been mediocre their whole career, who all of a sudden went and got Kadarius Toney. Good point, Jay Money. They tried. They went out there. They don't have money because they're paying Mahomes a fortune, but they went out there and got the best weapons they could to surround him with and let Mahomes be Mahomes. So I 100% agree, Mike.
Yeah, well,
offensive line's great.
What was
too.
that guy from the Packers?
Valdez
Scantling.
Yeah.
What was the guy from the Packers? Yeah, Scantling. Yeah, he was a top receiver for the Packers. So you're right. They tried.
Yeah, they didn't throw 50 passes or 50 completions to Noah Brown. And I love Noah Brown. I hate that he gets so much flack that because they put him in a role he shouldn't have been in. But Noah Brown is a worker. Great guy to have as like your fifth wide receiver to bring in as a wide receiver pretending to be a tight end. No way in the world. What did we? It was like 80 passes we threw his way this year. That might even be low. That might have been earlier in the year when I looked at it. Way too many passes to go to a glorified blocker.
Brutal.
Oh man. So
yeah, I was screaming. Yeah.
Every time they threw him the ball. When the game mattered most,
yeah.
let's throw it to him in overtime. That's in coverage, a contested catch. Like, it hurts my feelings, but it is what it is. We're moving on to the draft. Oh, Rev, I'm not bitter at all about it. You can tell. Rev, tell me what matchups you're kind of excited for that are going to kind of determine this game. And I'm trying to hone in more on where we're going with who our predictions going to be. But what matchups do you like in this game?
Yeah. What matchups do I like? Or what I'm looking at,
or do you not like,
is pretty clear. Well, I think the biggest matchup, and there's so many of them, that's why this game is just very intriguing. The biggest one in my mind that I will be watching is the Eagles' run game versus the Chiefs' run defense. That is probably, in my mind, that is the number one thing, and really that is the deciding factor, I think, overall with choosing which team I think is going to win this game. It's that one right there that I'm looking at for this game, and so that's really what I'm the most excited about. I think everybody in the world knows what the Eagles want to do, and everybody in the world knows what the Chiefs want to do, at least offensively. So you're looking at the defensive part of it. And you know what the Eagles are going to be doing, going after Patrick Mahomes on one leg and maybe trying to make him uncomfortable. But then, really at the end of the day, you're looking at this Eagles offense and saying, all right, are you going to be able to run the ball? Are the Chiefs going to sell out? Because the Chiefs actually have a really good pass rush, very good pass rush. And so you're looking at their run defense, are they going to be able to handle the triple option? And so that's one of the things that I'm looking at. One of my most favorite matchups that I'm looking at, Coach.
Nice. Mike, you got a matchup that you're excited about watching?
Yeah, the number one pass rush win rate defensive line, the Eagles. The number one pass rush win rate offensive line, Kansas City. And if they can't get in Mahomes' face, if that offensive line holds up and the Eagles pass rush isn't killing, they'll have trouble because their linebackers will not be able to handle Travis Kelce. And I like their corners, but I don't know if I like the matchup with the types of receivers that Kansas City has. I don't know if Darius Slay's just going to stay one-on-one with Kadarius Toney. I don't know how that works. Scantling speed against Bradbury. They're more the bigger physical types. And then the pass rush gets there. And so if the pass rush doesn't get there and you give them more time, they'll struggle. And then that could be, quick strikes, quick scores. And then that might get the Eagles out of their running game if Kansas City puts up points. So similar, but I think the way we're saying it is kind of the same, but on opposite ways. Like what he's saying is offensively, how does Philly do against what their strength is against
Right.
what Kansas City's trying to stop? What they would be like, this is what we need to do. And then on the opposite end, what Philly would need to do is get to Mahomes with their pass rush. What happens if the Kansas City offensive line stops that? So yeah, I think we're pretty similar there, just looking at it from the different offensive perspectives.
Yeah, I think coming into this conversation, I had a few in mind, and the Eagles' pass rush definitely is up there. If that can be slowed down, I mean that's going to be a major determining factor of the game right there. And on the other side, Rev, as you're saying, the ability to stop the Eagles running. I don't know if you guys saw, was it Robbie Gould said if they can make Jalen Hurts play quarterback, they're going to be okay. So it's not just us that's saying that. If they stop the run, you're changing their offense completely. And I know Mike was saying earlier that Jalen Hurts has been making those throws in one-on-one coverage to those stud wide receivers he has. So if they can stop the run and force Jalen Hurts to play quarterback, I mean, they're at least going to be better off, right? If you give up the run, you're toast. So there is no discussion then. But I think the matchup, just to say that those two things you guys mentioned, absolutely huge, are going to go towards determining the game. Something I'm excited about, Mike. What's the weak point in the Eagles' defense? What's their weakest position? Linebacker.
Linebacker. So, yeah. Big
what's
time.
the best weapon on Kansas City's offense, other than Mahomes? Travis Kelce. So I'm looking at a strength versus a weakness here, and then does that go into it, Kelce? Absolutely, J Money. So are they going to leave Gardner Johnson out there to cover Kelce the entire time? They've been running the ball pretty well lately with Pacheco. If the Eagles go light, their ability to stop the run is going to change, right? And Pacheco, McKinnon, those guys they're going to start lighting it up. So I'm curious if these linebackers that they have that are the weak point, everybody agrees, or at least we think they are, if they're able to cover Kelce, I mean, are they going to bracket him with a safety? There is no way to cover Kelce unless you have a great linebacker or you hurt your run defense. Like there's no way to do both. And you can sometimes cover him, but Andy Reid's so good that he's going to find that weakness, right? If you try to bracket him or you're sometimes covering him out of certain formations, Andy Reid's going to take advantage of that. He's going to get him lined up on linebackers. And so that's kind of the matchup I'd like to see is Kelce versus these weak, and I'm air quoting, I know you guys can't see me, weak, because everybody says they're weak. Will they perform weak or not? We don't know. But Kelce versus those linebackers is going to be huge for determining this game in my head.
The brutal thing about the Kansas City offense is you stop the deep ball from Scantling, and you stop the wide receiver screen to Tony, and then you stop the run game. You bracket Kelce. You got him down, and then Mahomes runs for 12 yards on third and 8.
Yep.
It's just they're so brutal to stop.
Yeah.
Too many ways to get first downs. The Eagles, though, I will say the Eagles are very similar when it comes to that because they have a ton of ways. They run the piss out of the ball now. So the first step is we have to stop the run because they're just going to abuse us if we don't. Then, we got to cover these two receivers, and we can't put safeties over the top because we got to stop the run. And then we stop all of that, and then Jalen Hurts takes off on us. So it's the same boat. It's an exciting game of two very good teams, I think.
It is.
Well, the reason why I lean towards the Eagles' ability to run the ball, I think that is the most intriguing. And I think on the surface, everybody's looking at the number one offense versus the number one defense, and rightfully so. But for me, the reason why this matchup is more important than any of the matchups is because if the Eagles can run the ball and control the clock, then you control the time, the amount of snaps that Patrick Mahomes can get. And that completely changes the game because when you have the best quarterback on the universe playing on your team, the best defense you can play is controlling the clock on offense. And that's why I don't think the Eagles want to sit there and just slang it out. I think they want to control the game on offense and limit the amount of times that Patrick Mahomes can get, because then Patrick Mahomes, we all know, have seen him. He's going to sling the rock. He's going to want to go deep. He's going to want to take chances, and that's when they can get him in trouble. Now, if the Chiefs can stop the running game, then what you're going to see is it doesn't really matter what the Eagles might do early. Eventually, Patrick Mahomes is going to get loose, and he's going to start to find guys and pick that team apart if they can stop the run game. Because then you're going to put it all on Jalen Hurts' lap and say, like most people have been saying, you better throw the ball. You better throw it from the pocket. And from what I'm hearing, his arm strength right now is still not 100%, as far as him throwing deep balls and things like that. So, there's some matchups within the matchups. I love the Kelsey one, man. I love the Kelsey one. And Hassan Reddick, that joker's come out of nowhere. How smart was it for them to take him as a linebacker and drop him down on the D line, kind of like Micah Parsons, and he's just had a monster year. So, do you take a corner? Do you put a corner on Kelsey? Do you kind of change that up that way? I don't know. It'll be fun to watch.
It's tough. It's
I
tough.
love that point.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
let me lead right into this next one because I like let's throw the quarterbacks out of the conversation just because we've already discussed it. Let's throw Kelsey out too. Rev, start us off here. What player is going to go the longest way towards determining the end of this game, do you think? We're throwing the quarterbacks out. We've kind of beat Kelsey to death, so let's leave him out too. So who's going to go the furthest towards determining this game? And one on both teams if you want to get wild with it.
So are we talking playmakers offensively, defensively? What are we looking for, Coach?
That's up to you. Who is going to be the determining factor to win this game other than the quarterbacks and Kelsey? One player.
For the Eagles, I'm looking at their receiving core, and I'm saying when you have the ability to control the ball, then that leaves one-on-one matchups for your wide receivers. Now, whether Jalen can get the ball there or not, we'll see. But if there's some one-on-one coverage there with A.J. Brown, even Devontae Smith, he's 8 and up, a lot of the one-on-one coverage. But I really think that A.J. Brown is the X factor there for the Eagles offense. And so looking at him, kind of seeing what he's going to do in the game as far as the Chiefs go, it sure is going to be kind of funny. We get what's his name, Clyde, the running
Edwards-Helaire,
from LSU. Yeah, he's sneaking in this game just in time. So could be a lot of screen actions going on right here and dump offs that could really save Patrick Mahomes. The ability to kind of keep the play alive and getting behind the Eagles defense, stretch them, spread them, let the receivers go, Kelsey bracket. But then you got these running backs that can catch out of the backfield and kind of see. And Hilaire's that sneaky guy that can come in this game and really cause some disruption. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go Clyde Helaire and then Edwards, and then I'll go A.J. Brown for the Eagles offense.
Good picks. I'm surprised with the Edwards-Helaire one. That's a surprising dark horse pick. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I can't. If we're taking Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey away, I'm just avoiding Kansas City's offense altogether. I'm going to go Chris Jones for them. As he said, don't let him run. That guy's going to be the monster inside that needs to blow things up and not allow that to happen so they can't control the clock. For the Eagles, I'm going to stay in the same vein. They have so many weapons offensively that I think it's hard to nail down one. It could be Goddard, it could be A.J. Brown, it could be Devontae Smith. So I'm going to go Hassan Reddick, who kind of blew up the Niners game. He got that first hit on Purdy that put him out, and that game was over basically after that. And so Hassan Reddick and their ability to control him, or does he blow the game up for you? And Chris Jones and his ability to help with the run game, and we've seen him as a pass rusher. So I'm going a little defensive players here for me, especially because KC is so reliant on Mahomes and Kelsey. I just feel like switching it to the defensive end makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Jones. Chris Jones, even maybe more than Mahomes, won that Bengals game for them. Absolutely destroyed their offensive line in the second half, but in the first half too. But in the second half, he was just unblockable. Reminded me of what's his face in L.A. in the Super Bowl. I don't know why I can't remember his name. Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Reminded me of Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl. Just could not be blocked. He just absolutely destroyed their entire offense. So Chris Jones is a great pick. If I had to get away from that, I'm going to go Pacheco. The way that he's been running the ball lately has added a little bully ball to Kansas City's finesse offense. To what they've been running lately. You hand him the ball and he's trucking guys out there. So if I'm not going to stay the same pick as you, give me Pacheco. Give me that bully ball way they've been playing ball. On defense or on the Eagles, Hassan Reddick's going to be that guy. Everything that I just said about Chris Jones and you said he did in the Niners game. Put out 2 quarterbacks, that's what you want your pass rusher to do, right? I know that we're not talking about Bounty Gate and all that stuff, but going into the game, if we're the Cowboys, if we were to get the same thing out of Micah Parsons, I would quietly be cheering him in the background because we'd be moving on to the Super Bowl, right? Or the Eagles game, it doesn't matter because we'd beat the Eagles. But we'll move past that. For the Eagles, I think I'll go with a running back as well. Miles Sanders, and for all the reasons that Rev discussed earlier about how important their run game is, Miles Sanders is going to go a long way towards determining the outcome of the game, the way he's able to run the ball. And if not Miles Sanders, I'll cheat and say that I'll take the Eagles' offensive line without naming one in particular, being the better than Miles Sanders, because the way they block, I mean, they're the best offensive line in football, and I don't really think it's close between them and whoever's second. So they're really who I'd like to name as the determining factor. But given my own rules that I stated at the beginning, give me Miles Sanders, who gets to take advantage of what they do.
How about a Lane Johnson just on his injury?
Mm-hmm.
Can he hold up with the torn, the thing he has to have surgery on, which I don't remember exactly what it is, but if he can't hold up and they have problems with him, this isn't the Giants, who weren't really they're a playoff team in a down NFC, or the Niners without 2 starting quarterbacks. This team's, you're gonna have to play. On my dogs, they don't like Lane Johnson.
Eagles players, I don't blame them. Well, that's a good question that I did want to ask, and we're at about 20 minutes left of the show, and we got to get to picks. But let's just hit on it a little bit. I know Rev has really strong feelings on this, so we'll let him talk about it first. Is the Eagles' path to the Super Bowl, does that hurt them coming into this game? Does it help them? What it's got to do one or the other, or is it neither, Rev?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters one bit. At the end of the day, you just want to get there. How you got there, it don't matter. Like how many times, we've all been watching, I was kind of listening to some of your takes, both of y'all, and kind of seeing your past, where you come from, who you watched growing up, and we named off some old coaches right there back in the day. So that lets me know that we have seen enough football where not the best team has been in the dance. You're looking back in the heyday, man, and there's been some amazing football teams that never even went to the Super Bowl. And so at the end of the day, it's just about getting there. It's about being the team. And here's a question, is this for the Eagles the easiest path of all time to go to the Super Bowl? And nothing to take away from their season.
We'd all take it. We'd all take it right now.
I mean, how hard it is to win in the league, how hard it is to win the playoff games and to go to the Super Bowl. And so if you're an Eagles fan, who cares? If you're the Eagles, who cares? As a Cowboys fan, I would take it any day. I'd play TCU to go to the Super Bowl. Give that to me. At the end of the day, just get there. And then from that point, you got a couple weeks to figure it out. And so you're basically looking at the matchups of this game and saying, are we good enough? Can we beat this team? And history
win one
tells
game.
us, and I'm not telling you my pick or anything, but history tells us that when you have the number one defense versus the number one offense, the past 2 times that has happened, the defense has won the Super Bowl. And so I don't know if you guys, here's a little trivia. What are the other 2 Super Bowls that this has happened before, where you had the number one offense versus the number one defense?
Wasn't one the Cowboys and Bills Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure the Cowboys had the number one D, and I'm pretty sure the Bills had the number one O in one of those years. Am I wrong?
In 92, we had the number one defense. I don't know if Bills had the number one offense or not, but I know we did have the number one defense.
But yeah.
I would have to think New England versus the Rams. That would be one, and then on the flip side, New England versus the Giants. Maybe?
Yep, that was the other one I was thinking.
It's the Bucks versus the Raiders.
Oh,
that makes
Bucks,
sense.
Raiders.
Yeah. So I think
the
the Rams and Patriots, and then the Bucks and the Raiders. I think that those are the two matchups. So here again, we got the Eagles versus the Chiefs, and so you're looking at the number one offense versus the number one defense. And what do they always say, guys? They always say what? Defense wins championships. So we'll see. We'll see if the best player in the entire planet can break that curse right there.
But let me ask this in terms of what Coach was talking about. So yes, they were ranked the number one defense. But I wish I had it on me. The quarterbacks they faced coming up the last 11 games were nobody terrible. Dak destroyed them, cut them up. Nobody terrible, awful. Daniel Jones, and then Niners third string. So
I love it.
Keep
going.
If you look through, when they played, the one big time quarterback they played was Dak, and he went 24 for 24 on their zones and completely annihilated them. So is their defense, and it ain't like he had a ton of weapons or a great offensive line, or you know what I mean? So is this defense really going to play like a number one defense when they end up against Andy Reid, Mahomes, Kelsey, Pacheco, Hilaire, Scandling, Juju? Are they going to play up to that? So I think that leads right into the easy schedule they had. We'd all take it, but now, it comes a time they haven't had to pucker their butthole all year. What happens when the butthole's puckered and you got to work through it? They ain't had that all year. Not with Jalen Hurts. Yeah. All their games that the one we played, it was a close game, but they didn't have Jalen Hurts. It was Gardner Minshew. They didn't really have any pressure on them then. The playoff games, they whooped up on the Giants, and then the Niners had their quarterbacks injured. So there's something to be said about what happens when what if they get smacked in the face by Kansas City, and Andy Reid in Kansas City goes, okay, here you go. Now what you going to do? Do they have that? Is there something they can look back and go, remember earlier this year when we had to face this team and we were down and we had to come up and get stops against a good quarterback. We had to do this and this to get a win. That matters, in a huddle. They're gonna look around and go, man, we ain't had to deal with this yet. So we'll see. It could be a thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Mike. Mahomes just had to do it last week in the AFC Championship. They had to pucker up their buttholes and go win the damn thing, like you're saying, man. And the Eagles haven't had to do that. So what was that, Ref?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's such a great point because Colin Cow Turd, he actually, and I don't mean call him that, but he aggravates me. He actually brought up that same point, Mike, and he said, you take out the Giants, and the only other playoff team that the Eagles actually beat was back in Week 4 against the Vikings. And so you're exactly right. They've had to play these weaker opponents. You played the Giants with Daniel Jones and a better story than a better team. The coach got that award as being the NFL Coach of the Year. He got it for a reason, because he coached the heck out of that roster, Yeah. And then you're looking at the 49ers beating the 49ers with basically Christian McCaffrey being your quarterback there for a little while. And so that just Coach has heard me say this, Mike. It's been so unimpressive to see them win these games. And we just, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Am I a Cowboy fan? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm a football fan. I just want to see good football. I don't want to go into these playoffs and see blowouts. I don't want to see Georgia and TCU. I don't want to see that garbage. I want to see some good football.
At playing quarterback.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that if Kansas City wins 50-7, I will be ecstatic. I will watch the commercials with joy.
Oh, I'll watch the whole thing, and I'll get on Twitter and talk trash. So.
Oh man! Well,
what are you thinking, Coach?
I'm thinking it's time for picks. That's what I'm thinking, man. What?
Okay.
Are you guys ready? You got your arguments ready to go? You need to go to the bathroom first. We need to go get a drink. If we're ready to make picks, Mike, why don't you lead? You're the guest, man. Let's hear it. What do you got? All right, time it out. Go ahead, Rev.
Okay, and maybe we can do this after picks, but I was really intrigued when Mike came in on the show and started talking about his prep game for the Super Bowl party. And so I don't know if it's appropriate right now, but
oh no, it's the
you got me
time.
Like you got me thinking, Mike. I'm going, all right, what's this Joker cooking for tomorrow? Because I might need to get on a plane and fly over to California and take him a visit right now. So
look at the look of pride on his face
up?
Right now, Rev. Look at his face. It's like he's talking about his grandchildren right now, like the pride, like his grandchildren are going to Harvard. That look of pride in his face right now. Let's hear it, Mike.
He's ready.
It's a thing when people know when Super Bowl comes up. I get down. We put a lot of food down. I am doing. I've already smoked 2 briskets that I have set aside that I will make chili out of. And my chili is really good with ground beef, but it's going to be so good.
Oh man.
And then with that, when we do chili, because chili is a requirement every year. It is no matter what I want to do, they say that's fine, but what about the chili? So we make cornbread to put that on. We'll also put hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill. That is not me. That I'll make the patties for him, but that's a little too basic. So I just, hey, y'all do that. I got other stuff to do. So we're gonna do a brine chicken wings. I brine them tonight, and then they set, and then I'll grill them to get grill marks, and then I'll fry them to finish them up. And then I'm going to do 2 different types of pulled pork. One's a mustard style that I like to do different. I don't like to I'm kind of like that. Like if everybody does red sauce on their enchiladas, well, I'm going to do green. Everybody does barbecue sauce on their pulled pork, then I'm going to do a mustard style, So we're going to do an apple cabbage slaw with the mustard pulled pork. And then the other one, I'm going to do barbecue style for the regular. And if they want to use the slaw, that's fine. But that could be used on a bunch of different stuff. That type of pulled pork could be good in quesadillas, could be good on pizza. So I'll let them use some of it if they want it, if they don't want the mustard. But I'm kind of like sliding that one aside to do stuff with throughout the week. But yeah, that's going to be the spread. We'll have chili that has cornbread, hot dogs, hamburgers. We'll have 2 different types of pulled pork. We'll have a slaw that goes with the mustard. And then we'll do some chicken wings too. So,
how many people are you cooking for, Mike?
You know how many people? I'm dead. I'm not even lying. Me, Mitchell, Tim, Bubs, Cisco, my dad. So there's 6 people for sure that will be here. And yes,
bro, that's a spread.
We make that much food for that people, and I do a lot of stuff with leftovers. So I love that's why I love Thanksgiving, Christmas, because I'll make a ton. And then I'm taking it home and doing stuff with it. So, yeah, make a bunch of stuff. And then you plan stuff in your head like, okay, I'm going to have this. And then you work out stuff you're going to do throughout the week with the leftovers you have.
Well, everybody, that's the show because I've got to catch a flight over to Mike's house. It's been nice talking to you.
Come on down. Fresno, California. Let's go.
Oh, nice. Man. That sounds amazing,
Nice.
amazing.
You doing anything, Coach? You doing anything for Super
No,
Bowl?
we my my stepdad used to put on a huge spread of something like that. Would make 100 different kinds of wings, and and would put out the burgers and the hot dogs, and would have just a huge spread of all kinds of stuff. And then I moved away, and like I was like I never made anything. I always just went over there and ate. You did like Mike and had the huge spread, and I just took advantage. So now we'll do some chicken wings. I believe we've got some that we're gonna make. But not like a crazy amount, just enough for us to my wife and kids. And my kids don't even really eat chicken wings, so it's just us. So nothing too crazy, Rev. I really go wild for the 4th of July. That's like my day to grill and cook stuff. That's where I get
Nice.
wild. I make the best ribs known to man. No offense, Mike, if you make ribs, but mine are better. But I really throw down on some ribs then. My family's from Alabama, and they're huge on ribs, and I use family recipe on them. So that's really when I throw down. Super Bowl Sunday, I like to sit in front of the TV, watch 6 hours of pregame show, and just kind of kick back and enjoy the game. What about you, Rev? Big spread? You got like 20 kids, so you got to have a huge spread.
Yeah, last year we did a little party up at the church house. Invited a lot of the youth to come over there. This year, no youth party or whatever. We're gonna hang out at the new house. You don't know this, Mike, but we just built a home, moved in a couple months ago, and so we're gonna enjoy being here. So some of our family friends are gonna come over. My family, I got a big family, so we got a family of 7, and so then we'll invite some of our family friends to come over as well. They are actually selling tomorrow, cater or dine in. They're selling over here local at the Blue Gator. They're selling $1 a wing. So I think I'm going to just call them up and say, hey, give me a bunch of wings, and we'll just have it at that. I think at the end of the day, guys, I'm just like praying, hoping that the Eagles lose. Like more than anything, I just want the Eagles to lose. I think that's where I'm at right now. My friends, I told him he's a Jags fan. So Mike, we went to the Jags game together when the Cowboys played, and we you kind of know how that game went. But he's a big Jags fan, so he said he was coming over tomorrow, and he goes, well, I'm just letting you know that I'll be rooting for the Eagles. I said, well, then you better stay at the house, because there ain't going to be anybody that comes over my house rooting for the Eagles. He goes, all right, well, I just don't, I'm just not rooting for the Chiefs. I said, well, I'll respect that. You can do that, but you ain't coming over my house, rooting for the Eagles. We ain't doing that.
I'm 100% with you. Nobody's allowed. You got to be Cowboys fans, or you cannot watch the game with me, period.
No, period. Yeah. Yeah.
We
Even
made that
my
rule
kids,
one time
Eddie
with
Red.
my in-laws came over, Rev, and my in-laws are all Jets fans, as you know. So they came over. We were watching. Matter of fact, we were watching the Patriots Eagles Super Bowl, and no, it wasn't it was the Patriots Giants Super Bowl, and they were all rooting on the Giants because, of course, they hate Tom Brady, right? So when the Giants win, they're like rubbing it in my face like I'm a Patriots fan, like running their mouth. I'm like, dude, y'all were like 2 wins this year. Like, what are you talking about? You didn't win the Super Bowl. Like after that, I was like, nah, man, we can't do this anymore. If an NFC East team is in the Super Bowl, I'll sit in the room and watch it by myself if I got to. I'm not having Jets fans rub the Patriots losing in my face like it really mattered that much.
Yeah.
Oh,
No thanks.
man.
No thanks.
I got one more
All right, man.
before my picks. I got just a quick question. With the ribs, I heard Alabama is a white barbecue sauce place. Is that correct?
So I don't do the white barbecue sauce, but yes.
Okay, it is a bit. I've made the white barbecue sauce before. I don't dislike it or anything. And then are you dry rub sauce or both?
Oh no. I'm from the deep south. We're wet, baby.
Okay, beautiful.
Yep. No, we're
Awesome
absolutely
sauce.
wet. Look, I mean, I gotta ask then, if we're gonna go this far into the conversation before we make the picks, what barbecue sauce is the best? And I'll tell you, having said that, I'm from Alabama and I like the wet sauce, I'm gonna tell you that my favorite barbecue sauce is that Carolina's mustard barbecue sauce. That gets me going. Like I shouldn't be saying that as an Alabama guy, but it's the case. I like the mustard barbecue sauce. We actually, funny enough, we've talked about this before, have we not, Rev?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm
There's a
right there. I'm
reason
right
I'm
there with you,
making
coach.
there's a reason I'm making a mustard sauce on the pulled pork. Like I eat whatever. I typically make them. I don't do a lot of store bought ones. But yeah, mustard. I like mustard sauce. I think it's everybody does the other one.
Hmm.
So give me the mustard sauce.
Yeah, Sweet Baby Ray's, J
Yeah,
Money,
if
is
I'm
my favorite store bought sauce. I will agree with you there. It's my favorite
Mm.
store bought sauce.
if I'm gonna eat just regular hot sauce, I want mild. I don't want the sweet barbecue sauce. I'm not against it, but I like the mild regular barbecue. But I am 100% Carolina barbecue. Give me some honey mustard and throw me some coleslaw on
Hmm.
that sandwich, and I'm gonna go to town with it. So yeah, I'm right there with you, brother.
I'll
So
send you a picture.
are we all starving now or
Please,
what?
please, yes,
I have
yes,
only had a Luna bar all day. My shoulders are probably going crazy.
yeah.
I,
Mike's
you guys
hungry
can
right
hear
now.
my
We better
stomach
get some
talking.
picks in. We better get some picks in. Mike's
Oh
ready to
man,
eat.
Mike, let's hear it, man. Lead us off. Take it away, man. Tell us what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl? Who's gonna win and why?
It's a simple one for me, and I say it every season for since he was in Philly. I do not pick against Bill Belichick or Andy Reid off bye weeks. They get an extra week to get ready. And that's my reasoning. I'm taking Kansas City. Let's do 34-22 to win.
What did the line end up being at? Hold on, I got to see where the line. It was going back and forth. So right now it's got Philly by 1.5. So you can basically pick it straight up.
Yeah, that's what my pick's a little out on the limb. I'll admit.
What do you think, Rev? Put it out there.
Well, that was quick right there, like just
The
straight to the
fastest
point.
pick
I
we've
like
had
that,
all
Mike.
year.
Both teams are
I
really
like that,
good.
Mike.
Both teams are really
Yeah,
good. For me, it
yeah,
comes down to you don't pick against Andy Reid off a bye week.
yeah, yeah. I respect that. I respect that pick. I struggle a little bit with this game because one, you got Andy Reid, but then two, you got the best player in the world, who is Patrick Mahomes. And you can hate, you can do whatever you want to do, but as a Cowboy fan, subtraction doesn't mean addition. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs did a little bit of subtraction to their offense, and Patrick Mahomes has just brought that level up to another step. And you don't know me that well, Mike, but Coach does, because he knows exactly how I pick games. Because I'll sit there and talk a certain way, and then I'll flip the script. So Coach already knows me too well to do this. So I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes in this, and I'm seeing where he is. Andy Reid is. They scare me. Kelsey, Chris Jones, they scare me. And then I'm looking at this other matchup right here, and I think this game is all about matchup. And I think the matchup that the Eagles bring to the table is, for me, I feel more confident in choosing the Eagles to win this game. Um, I don't know why, and I'm not trying to be the pessimistic where I'm trying to do reverse psychology. I truly believe that the Eagles are going to win this game. It was the same feeling I had when the Eagles were playing the Niners. I know that they lost their quarterback, but I felt like the matchup favored the Eagles and what they did. And so when I'm coming to this game, I think that the Eagles are going to be able to run the ball. I think their defense is going to keep Patrick Mahomes at bay. And to be honest with you, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be able to sit back and enjoy him a first Super Bowl, which drives me nuts. I think he's going to be able to enjoy. He'll make some big throws in the game, but I don't think he's going to have to do very much. I see the defense just going out there and doing what the Eagles defense has been doing. Yes, they haven't really played a lot of teams, but what we have seen from that defense is they can be monsters. And so I think they're gonna they're gonna cause some major trouble for Patrick Mahomes. I hope Patrick Mahomes can stay healthy in this game. But being on one leg, it drove me nuts whenever they were playing the Jags. and I'm going, this dude is playing off one leg, and you are not blitzing one man. You're not sending the house against this guy. And sure enough, even against the Bengals, same thing happened. You saw him kind of roll that ankle again, and he was hobbling a little bit. And I'm thinking, go after this guy, go after him, make him uncomfortable. And so I think the Eagles have the ability to do this. The AFC might have the better quarterbacks, but I believe the NFC has the better teams. And so that's what I'm going off of right here. I think for Patrick Mahomes, yes, the Eagles have not seen a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes this year. At the same time, I don't think Patrick Mahomes has seen a defense like the Eagles this year. And so I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this game. I like the Eagles right here. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Eagles are going to win this game 30-17. I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win this game.
Yeah,
I hate that.
That's gonna hurt me a lot. I'm gonna just not watch football all summer or talk about it or do anything. Like, we're just gonna be on to basketball or college at that point. But when the season started and we were doing these talks, Rev, I said from the start that Patty Mahomes was gonna be on a mission this year. Lost Tyreek Hill. Everybody was counting him down. Heck, even last week or 2 weeks ago, I was saying, if Joey B wins this game, he might be the new number one, right? Mahomes wins it. I'm still a Mahomes guy. I still think he's the best quarterback in the league. Like I just said a few minutes ago, that I feel like he's on that road to be the GOAT. He long road, but he's on it. Like he's there. The Chiefs, their offense is really good. There's a lot of ways to attack. They have Kelsey, who's a great playmaker. Everybody else is just pretty good, right? So then you look at the Eagles, and they just have great players everywhere, on offense, on defense, all over the place. Is Jalen Hurts Patrick Mahomes? No. Does he have to be? I don't think he does. They have so many ways to score points on that Eagles offense. I just feel like they're going to be able to score enough points to outpace Patrick Mahomes against that defense, which is also really good and has stars everywhere again. So Hassan Reddick, going to have his way, but he's not the only one out there making plays on that defense. They have great corners, and I know, Mike, you said that they're physical corners, not necessarily speed guys, which is absolutely right. But if they're able to stop the run up front with that D-line, which they were able to do against the Niners to an extent without a quarterback, blah, 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 they're running the ball. I know, easy road, we'll find out. I feel like the Eagles, and this has kind of been the talking point that everybody's had, is they just have so many ways to win games. And everybody's saying it because it's true. Like, their defense can win the game. They can run the ball and win the game. They can pass the ball and win the game. Jalen Hurts can run and RPOs. Like, they just have every tool in the toolbox to use to win the game. And I just feel like Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes. That's a hell of a tool. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. And as much as it hurts me, and I hope that Eagles fans that come around here running their mouths don't hear me say this, but I think the Eagles are going to win this Super Bowl, and I think it's going to be a tight one. Give me like 28-24, something around there. A one-score game. The line's 1.5, so if you're going to pick the Eagles to win, you got to pick the 1.5. But a close game. Patrick Mahomes makes a run late to win it and falls short at the end. Oh, gosh. I need to go brush my teeth now. It just tastes gross coming out of my mouth. Oh, man.
Do it, though.
No, I don't know if that's courage or cowardice.
I hope you're right, Mike. I hope you're right, Mike. I hope that proof with Andy Reid just comes to.
It's head coach and quarterback, the better head coach and quarterback versus the better roster.
Yes,
and we'll
absolutely.
see which one comes out.
Yeah. This is one of the better,
for sure,
better Super Bowls, I think, on paper, of two teams that are very equally matched. Not the same team, not the same style of football, but similar amounts of talent, like ability to win games playing each other. And if you were to flip a coin and go one way or the other, I wouldn't be mad at either way it came up. Both teams it's a 50-50 game to me. You got to go one way or the other, and I feel like the Eagles, with the defense, with the offense, they just have the way to get it done.
I really think if the Chiefs can stop their run game and make them one-dimensional, I think the Chiefs have a fantastic, they have a fantastic way to win this game. And so again, that is my number one matchup that I'm watching for tomorrow. If the Chiefs could sell out and say, Jalen Hurts, you're going to have to beat us tonight. And you know what? If Jalen Hurts beats them with his arm, man, all respect to that dude. All respect to that guy. Because you know what I'm saying? That's what everybody's been saying. Make that joker throw. Even the Niners players are just bitter and mad, and they're just calling it out. They're almost telling them exactly what to do. I think that's what everybody's thinking right now. Make Jalen Hurts throw, and if that's the case, you're giving Patrick Mahomes a lot more opportunities. And I just hope that's the case. I hope the Chiefs are listening, and I hope they commit to that run game. But
Chiefs,
good stuff,
please
man.
go out there and prove me wrong. I will never be happier in my life to be wrong than right now. Mike, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. The takes were great, man. Will you come back and talk draft with us in a month or so?
Of course. Oh, anytime. You guys want me on? I got to work it around my schedule, but I'll come on, man. If we can work it out, I'm here. I promise you.
Awesome. Rev, anything
Thanks
you want to
a
leave
lot,
off
Mike.
with?
No, man, I'm just ready for football. It's once Dallas is out of it, it's like I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm draft mode, and I kid you not. The draft for me is the Super Bowl. I love it so much. I love and I don't know how much you guys listen to Cowboys podcast, but I absolutely love to listen to the Cowboys draft talk. It's top notch. The draft show, they don't just talk about the Cowboys, and they do, man. They talk about all the different guys. I think Brian Broaddus is one of the best out there that talks. Him, yep. And who's the other guy that's always on the show with them?
Dane Brugler.
Dane Brugler is amazing, man. And Dane Brugler does his own mock draft. He does his player report. Lines them out. I'm talking like way more than all these draft experts do. He does the work, the dirty work right here. So if you guys do you, yeah, I have as well. It's cheap. You can get it on digital too. Man, the dude is rock solid. And so the great thing about being a Cowboy fan is these guys that the Cowboys are picking even before they do it if you do your homework. And that way you're not being super surprised. I think Tyler Smith was a big surprise for a lot of people. But beyond Tyler Smith, for the most part, I think Cowboy fans, at least that listen to the show, they knew what was going on. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. I can't wait to have you back, Mike. Appreciate you being here. Let me pop those links back in the chat.
Thank you.
We got ATP. We got your Twitter here. Pop those in the chat. Go give Mike a follow there at both of those guys. And enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. Enjoy that spread, Mike. Post a picture on Twitter or something, man. I want to see it, or put it in the Discord. All right, guys.
The first thing I'm gonna do is go eat, and then I gotta start finishing the prep for Super Bowl tomorrow.
Beautiful,
nice.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Have a great night. Nice. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. See ya.
Have a good one, guys.
See you, bro.